I'm trying to save Governor's Island.
I love that. I know about Governor's
So,
Island.
right now, what I want you to do tonight, is write a letter to City Council to say how much, like, write a love letter to Governor's Island and tell them to vote no against the Governor's Island rezoning plan.
Fiercely pursuing accountability on policy and implementation. It's time for another DJL7 candidate interview.
You start record. Hey, what's up? It's your boy DJ L7. I'm gonna do that one more time, okay? Hey, what's up? It's your boy DJ L7. Now you know I'm interviewing every single person running for office here in New York City, and to tell you the truth, this is actually one of the most special candidates that we have right here, and we're gonna get to why. But I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Allie Ryan, and I'm an independent candidate running for Council District Number 2.
Right, and that's actually one of the reasons why she's of superior interest to us, because of the fact that she's running as a independent candidate, and decidedly so. Tell me a little bit more about your independent candidacy and what makes you stand out in that regard.
Okay, so, well, when I first registered to vote when I was 18, I registered as an independent candidate, no party affiliation. And so it's just always been important to me. And now, in the past couple of years, I've become politically active because de Blasio's initiatives have directly impacted me and my family. And I find personally that not one party embodies my beliefs. So to me, running as an independent is more comfortable to me. But also, I firmly believe in the multi-party system. I don't think we need a one-party system, and that's what we have right now.
Okay. When you say the one-party system, are you saying the Democrats and Republicans are kind of the same party, or are you saying that, the Democrats kind of control New York? Maybe both.
I believe right now we're a one-party town that's controlled by the Democrat machine.
You know it, yeah. And actually, I appreciated your insights regarding that. So, why didn't you just decide to maybe run as Republican then? Which is what many people do.
Because I live in a staunch Democrat district, and I actually asked my friends, because it would have been a lot easier
Yeah.
to run as a Republican.
Yeah.
I think I would have less gray hairs, frankly. But my friends said that they wouldn't vote for me. And in fact, they wouldn't trust me anymore.
Yeah.
Because they really
have this prejudice against Republicans.
Yeah.
Actually, I did see, yeah, some of your language actually coming into the is more strongly like, against the duopoly and against, the establishment as is. And it's cool that in our little pre-talk, you actually demonstrate more knowledge about this than someone who just watches TV shows. You've actually done some digging on this. So why don't you share again to me, right? Yeah, I said, what about like you decide to go independent? There's some other options, right? Libertarian Party, Conservative Party, whatever. Why don't you choose one of those? So tell me once again, what was your decision as to go independent versus any party at all?
Well, last year, the New York State legislature passed a law that said that parties had to qualify for the next two election cycles had to have 130,000 unique votes to be able to qualify. Prior to last year, it was 50,000.
Right.
So that immediately cut out 5 parties.
Right.
The Green Party, the Liberal Party, the Independence Party, the Libertarian Party, and the SAM Party.
Okay, City District 2, where is that?
It is sort of an L shape.
Okay.
It's in Manhattan. So it starts up at Murray Hill, Kips Bay, Rose Hill, Gramercy Park, encompasses Madison Square Park, Union Square, comes down to East Village, Alphabet City, and then goes down to the Lower East Side. And then to the far, so our defining border is East River Park and East River.
I just did an action with Melanie Acello. She's actually a tenant associate president in Kips Bay Public Houses. So, what's up? I may have a friend for you. Yeah?
Oh, I would
Let's make it.
love to meet them.
Let's make it happen. Yeah? She's very active, so that's cool. So, like, that's really cool. I've been super impressed by some of the things that we've been talking about behind the scenes. Miss Allie Ryan, I believe that's your, that's what you go by?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Why can people, like, why could people trust you in the position?
So, well, I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I have been working with different types of projects focusing on what's going around in our neighborhood, like working with the underground punk scene and music and artists, as well as like environmentalism. I've actually I'm a member of the the East River Park Action Group, and in fact, I'm part of the lawsuit right now to unredact the value engineering survey for East River for the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project, and we've which is basically why did the city take out the community-led plan and replace it with the current plan, which demolishes our current park, which is in a floodplain, and replaces it with a flood wall. And we all know we need a flood wall, but you don't need to demolish hard parks to do that. And but in addition to all those things, I'm also so I'm a mom. I have 2 young daughters, and so I've gotten also involved with New York City education politics, and I've also feel like I'm missing something, but
Well, don't worry. It's going to come up. Actually, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I know it's quite a few topics to talk about this. So let's talk about some of the things right now. One of the things that I work with a bunch of different political organizations, and some of them, ask me, by my choice, I ask these questions. Number one, do you know who Julian Assange is?
yes, I do.
Do you support Julian Assange?
I support the right to free speech, and I
Okay.
support the right to I support the right to do the right thing.
Yeah. So would you support him being freed?
And
Are there any concerns about it? What are the concerns?
I don't know enough,
Okay, I
to be
understand.
honest.
Right. But if everything that you know about the WikiLeaks thing and about the double taps and about, the fact that he's being arrested for releasing information, because basically it said that like he's like the Watergate tapes, right? It's not like he did the espionage, you know what I mean? He just published the information on WikiLeaks. And for that, right, even though he was cited by Time and stuff like that, right, he's being punished because he actually revealed, right, corruption inside of, I think he released Hillary Clinton's emails. I think that's what they're unhappy about him for. And after that, he kind of like went away. Is that something?
Yeah.
Does that kind of like, yeah.
But was he also involved with Edward Snowden?
Edward Snowden is a similar but different
And then-
category, because the thing is that Snowden also revealed information about how our Secret Service is spying on us illegally. Now, WikiLeaks was involved with a number of releases, right? Yeah, Hillary Clinton's emails, which Snowden had nothing to do with. Also released the double taps. You know what I mean? That's where, like,
The Chelsea.
yeah, Chelsea Manning. Chelsea Manning. Yeah.
Yes.
Chelsea Manning did the release of that information, and then, all that really Assange did was publish it, yeah, on WikiLeaks, and now he's being punished for that. So that's, if you want to learn more, we'll have time to talk about that, but let me talk about the next issue here. As do you support UBI,
What is UBI?
Universal Basic Income?
I don't know enough about. I actually don't know anything about it.
Okay. I'll give you a little summary real quick. It was an idea conceived of by or made popular by Martin Luther King, when he said that, we need to get rid of poverty in this nation, and maybe it's time for us to think about a universal basic income. This idea was popularized recently by Andrew Yang, who I used to work with, but I'm now protesting, unfortunately, which is weird. Yeah, still,
I know.
but I'm still right asking every candidate if they support UBI, which, if you think about it, is really kind of weird, right? Yeah, if you think about it, I'm kind of a true Yang Ganger, despite being frowned upon, despite protesting. So, what's up, Yang Gang? Hollering at you, boys and girls. You know what I mean? Holler at your boy. What's up? We getting back up or what? Anyways, let's move on. Yeah. So the third thing that I'm going to ask you is, there's people who are disabled in this country, and unfortunately, there's actually, if we think about minimum wage, it's kind of a subsistence wage, especially in New York City, and we're allowed to pay them less than minimum wage. Will you support the right for, people with disabilities to receive at least minimum wage for their work?
Yes.
Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah. Now, the last one's really kind of another one of my partners, the trans community. Okay. The thing is that trans people often find themselves the victim of discrimination. And, actually, I've found I really work more with the homeless community. And the thing is that we find is that even though laws are passed, people find ways to do what they want to us anyways. So people in the trans community often find themselves bounced out of housing, and they have problems with, being able to access a lot of the things that are there for us normal people when we have problems. How can we assure that they get access to these resources?
Well, I will also say that I think it doesn't, it applies to pretty much everybody. And I think we're seeing that overall, that there is an issue that many people are still being discriminated against, and that we need, and that even right now, so it's not just one community who's being discriminated against. Everybody is being discriminated against. So we need to act like I always love how Martin Luther King says, like, I want people to be judged by their character and not by the color of their skin.
Right.
And to me, I find that real, that's meaningful, because I do believe in equal opportunity and what you make of it.
I could share with you some interesting, some interesting plans that have been proposed, such as maybe the possibility of creating a special housing area for people of that community to assure that, a percentage of them get, so we could talk about those. And that's one of the interesting things about our coalition and talking to other candidates. So I'm really looking forward to being a part of a lot of future panels that we're going to be hosting, right, with other candidates to talk about such of the issues as housing, zoning. It's going to be an exciting time, right? So we're going to get to some of the, okay?
But actually, in regard to that,
yes,
there are, historically, even actually not in my district, but in District 1, there is, unions used to build apartment buildings for their union workers to live in. And so what you're describing is actually, there's a historic precedence that shows that, but it also shows over time the people either bequeath their apartments to family members or they sell them to someone else. So it changes, over time the building can change. It doesn't stay within the union family per se. But I do think you have an interesting, I like the idea that, building a community, but it actually goes against the idea of diversity.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. So
it's just how do you find balance within those?
The answer really pleases me because honestly, I see the nuance in your response, and that shows me someone who's a mature leader, and I appreciate that because there's a lot of people real simplistic in this, you know what I mean? And we, honestly, experience teaches you this type of thing, which a lot of people, unfortunately, in this game don't have. Yeah. So excellent answers. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the.
But I genuinely do think that we do have to find a balance.
Absolutely.
And to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about let's get to it. Yeah, education. So the thing is that, right, one of the things that I know the community is talking about directly, and I will ask you for a more broader aspect or whatever you're specifically looking at, but what about this SHSAT business? As people what's up? How do you feel about that? What's up?
Well, I I do support the SAT.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
do believe it's a objective test,
Okay.
and I will say I do support integration, but not at the expense of academics.
Okay.
And in District 2, sorry, City Council District 2, it actually overlaps two school districts, School District 1 and School District 2. So School District 1, it was sued, I think like 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. It was sued because they said they had segregated schools. So it became a school district based on lottery. And we were one of the first school districts to focus on the diversity in admissions.
So
for
what happened with
elementary
that?
schools.
What happened with that?
So our schools aren't that great, and you still have and interestingly enough, it's not because of those initiatives. In my opinion, it's more so a lot of the schools have a progressive education, so they're more emphasizing social emotional skills and purposes, and they're not as focused on academics. I also think there's an issue about expectations of students, and my daughters were in the GNT program, in a Title I school.
What is
They were
GMC program?
GNT, gifted and
Okay.
talented,
Okay.
which is very controversial right now because the mayor's has been for the past 2 years trying to
Get rid of it?
get rid of it, or I was going to say terminate and phase it out. But I can tell you, my daughter's experience did not mirror what you see in the news. Like the majority of my daughter's classmates were children who lived in NYCHA. They were first generation immigrants. They did not like their parents did not speak English as a first language. The children were typically bilingual, and those kids were smart.
Yeah.
They were and the parents consistently told me, like, the pre-K teacher told them to apply their child for gifted and talented.
We have an independent
So they did
candidate
it.
who came through that program who also attributes GNT as the reason for his success. Yeah.
I believe it. I mean, I felt like, and what was surprising, like, so the majority of the children in my daughter's classes were Black and Hispanic.
Yeah.
So it's just, and most of those families could not afford test prep. So it was either they just said, take the test.
Louis Cespedes said exactly this, and also his solution to this is to pay for tutoring. So interesting that you're saying you guys, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Go on.
See at the pre-K level, preschool level, it's a matter of parents reading to their children.
Yeah.
Teaching them the fundamentals of the alphabet, of like learning to write their name, like learning their numbers, maybe adding and subtracting up to 10. But what I found personally is that children learn at different rates.
Okay.
So there are children who are entering pre-K already knowing how to read. They may be at a second grade reading level.
Yeah.
So I personally believe in accelerated education, and that because I have witnessed children who are like learning multiplication and division in kindergarten, and it sticks. Like they deserve to learn new material just as much as other children. But I also will say this is actually something important to me, is that, and I probably won't get the teachers union endorsement for this, but I think I want if I am elected to city council, I will ask to join the education committee, and I'm going to, since we have mayoral control, I am going to request that the mayor and the next mayor and the DOE examine the school year, because right, in my opinion, for what I have witnessed,
Mm-hmm.
children do not need 2.5 months off in the summer. The summer slump hurts children more than it helps children, because children, even as young as second grade, or are going into second grade and have regressed to a kindergarten level. So you spend the first 3 months of the school year relearning what you learned in first grade, but guess what? The child is even further behind. But so they're always playing catch up. So if we re-examine our school year, and maybe it's like a year-round school, but I mean, we need breaks. So it could be like having three weeks off, a month off, and then, but children, like, you're minimizing the knowledge loss. And I actually think that could be a huge game changer, because I think for the children who who would be doing well, it gives them an opportunity to exceed.
Actually, that's one of the reasons that I read an article by Elon Musk where he said one of the great failings of the American educational system is doesn't teach our children why they're learning what they're learning. So actually, I work as a tutor, just so you know. I'm pretty popular with the kids. They like how real I am with it. But the thing is that, like, I'll teach them, like, if you take 99, right? Yeah. Like, a lot of things at the store are 99 cents. And then you buy 5 items at 99 cents. It's really $5 minus 5 cents, which is $4.95. And the thing is that I want them to help them check their purchases at the parents at the store, right? I say, look, what's the chances that, every single one of those employees do, like, are you really motivated? Like, I'm not hating on that job. That job is an honorable job. You know what I mean? But, if it's 99 cents or 98 cents, like, you're always getting it right, there's really, they might make a mistake, and you could help save the family money. Why don't you go ahead and do that? You know what I mean? So, right, and if the kids have a role where they can step up and do things with their knowledge, then it becomes useful, and they're doing it all the time. So, during those months off, they should be using it all the time anyways for the family. That's what I think.
I agree. I think that's awesome, because I also feel like, I mean,
Yeah.
financial,
Tell them to build like a model. Yeah.
literacy needs just like I wasn't like, in high school I was taught how to fill out a check and maintain a checkbook, but we live in New York City. Wall Street is here. And think about what just happened in January with GameStop and all that mess. I'm still like learning about what are shorts, and but I feel like children in particular, like, they need to learn this. Make
it relevant.
It's important to learn about calculus, so you can, because that enables you to learn about physics. But just as much as it's important, but not everybody's gonna want to pursue physics on a college level. But everybody's needs to be able to have financial literacy. So, that is actually something very important to me. So I'm really psyched that you're making it real for children in concrete ways, because math is patterns. And there's beauty in math, and that we just, but if we constantly but it's also a muscle.
Well, the thing is that, right, we're talking about now education as in terms of maybe its idealized form. But there's also an ugly side to education. I'm going to pop it out on you right now. Now, the thing is that I actually have video up that's called Hunter College Corruption, where actually I show that administrators were using student money to pay for a cell phone, to go on trips to, like, a water park and a ski park and stuff like that. It's ridiculous, And this is on, and nobody got fired, nobody lost their job, nobody went to jail, nothing, They're still working there to this day. Colleen Barrington, what's up? Anyways, That's one of the things. Okay, another thing is that when we take a look at who's buying the projects, remember we said there's the developers, yeah? Who's the number one landowner in New York City? Do you know?
New York City.
It's NYU, right? Yeah?
Well, I didn't know it was NYU.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
NYU. Who's buying the
I thought it
projects?
was
Who's
the
buying?
city.
Yeah, remember I said Melanie Ocello, the Tenants Association president? They guys got bought out by the private developers. What's the name of the private developer? I'll tell you right now. It's Cornell Pace, right? We've charged our children $2,000 to $5,000 to $20,000 per semester for an education, right? Yeah. Built these financial tax-free monsters that are buying up. What are they doing with all that money? They're buying up real estate and they're going plus on these developers' side. That's really, can you imagine what you're fighting right there? That is insane.
It is. It
It
is insane.
is.
But what actually that makes me really disgusted because I have to go back to.
That's the business of education. It is so corrupt. It's insane. It's
No,
crazy. Yeah. They are the
that
developers that you're fighting.
well, they're part of it, but that goes into a different section. But I will go back to the education part. So
Okay.
we have District 2 that's like considered to be the better school district, but parents have like fought to make them better school, like to create the schools that they've worked hard to make the schools that are good today. But because of what happened in December, that De Blasio and Carranza decided to make middle school a lottery, so it doesn't matter where you live, you just put down your top 12 choices and who knows where you're going to go. And then they applied similar logic to the high school level, but then they told high schools that high schools that have screens, which is basically things that motivate children to learn, their attendance, their grades, standardized test scores, their behavior, essays, whatever would make them stand out against other people. It was up to them whether or not they would keep those. And so now in my district, you have a lot of parents who are like, I'm paying Manhattan rents, but now my child may not be going to the neighborhoods, like the neighborhood middle school, which is in like 2 blocks from my home. My child may be now going to middle school in Queens. What's the point of living here in Manhattan if my child can't go to school here in my neighborhood? And I think they have a really good point.
It's also probably safer just to not have so much traffic going around. You know what I mean? Kids walking around, they're going to get whacked by stuff. You know what I mean? Also, right, yeah, with this whole COVID thing, like, and plus just, it's just a less safe time, like people, there's a lot of poverty around, you know what I mean? A lot of chaos. Come on, you know what I mean? But whatever. Hey, let's talk about, there's other solutions, but yeah, I think that's real smart, yeah. Start thinking about those things again. You know what I mean? To rethink about these things. I think that's safety is in question there.
Yeah. Well, I personally advocate for neighborhood schools because, like what I was telling you about where my children went to school, so like 60% of one of my daughter's classes were traveling 2 hours a day from other boroughs for their children to get a gifted and talented education. And on public transportation and it was just like, that's not right.
Honestly, that's one of the things that we've talked about. They have these magnet schools. Why don't they just make more of them? Why don't they just make a couple of them in Queens? You know what I mean? Why don't they just make the Brooklyn has one, make another one. You know what I mean? Make a couple of them in all the boroughs.
Yeah. Well, Queens in particular, they need more high schools. They're in desperate need of more high schools.
Yeah.
That's why, like.
How do you feel about charter schools?
I support them.
That's
I think because I believe what makes New York schools unique is that we have options.
Mm-hmm.
And so for that reason, I do support charter schools because if you look at a map, there are more charter schools in neighborhoods that don't have GNT programs.
Yeah.
So the children, parents are sending their children, like they're probably they're children who are qualified, who would qualify for gifted and talented, but the charter school is in walking distance of their home.
I have to say that I also support charter schools. I think that you know, there's to just make a label and say just because it exists in this particular definition, it's bad. You could have excellent teachers there and poor teachers at a public school. It's not like a magic word that makes it turn bad. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, and I think also
not saying they're all good either, right? They could be bad charter
yeah,
schools too. But
yeah,
they could be good. Yeah, there actually can be good. If there can be bad charter schools, there could be good ones. Yeah, so excellent. Yeah. So I'm just gonna move on to another question. What about police reform right now? This whole things going crazy. What do you think about that? Police reform.
oh, that it,
Some
that's
people
like
say
a
defund the police. What do you say about that?
yes. So my city council member actually supports defund the police, and
Okay.
she actually voted against the budget last year
Okay.
because she didn't feel like they cut funding for the police enough.
Okay.
And in September, she sent out a newsletter saying, if you see a homeless, like we have problems with homeless because we border the 30th Street men's shelter,
Right.
and I learned from my city council member, it's one of the largest homeless shelters in the country. And so as you may be aware with your homeless activism, lots of homeless people are on the streets because they don't want to go into the shelters because like you can't maintain COVID safety. And
Some of that's that. Sometimes it's crime time up in there. Sometimes people's getting extorted. Sometimes not. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's other. It's crazy up in there. Yeah, it's all good.
yeah, it's dangerous.
Can
I
be.
think
Yeah, it can be. Can be.
Yes. And anyway, she said if you see a homeless person in distress, call 311, not 911. We want to document
Yeah.
how to help people. Like, these statistics actually help us better provide services. And I told my husband this because I was just like, this, like, I respect that she's living up to her philosophy,
Yeah.
but this is like, but we all know 311 is not going to provide the fastest response.
Yeah.
And my husband was actually on the Williamsburg Bridge like a couple of days later, coming home from work, and he saw a homeless woman.
Yeah.
She appeared to be a homeless woman in the middle of
the street.
In the middle of the ramp coming off the Williamsburg Bridge into Manhattan.
Okay.
And she's peeling off stickers off the median.
Okay.
And it was just like, so he called 311.
Okay.
And he couldn't get through. Like, no one was answering. So then he called 911.
Yes.
And as he's calling 911, he sees police coming up, and traffic was stopped. And so the police came up and gently escorted the woman to safety.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I guess other people called, like other people are calling 911. But it's just like, I think about that experience. So I think about that in regard to what you're asking. And I'm like I do, like, one of my documentaries is about the NYPD harassment of critical mass and how.
Okay, just so people know what critical mass is, right? You said earlier that she was a biker, right? Critical mass is this thing in New York City where people take these bikes and they go mad hard in the streets, and they're like filling the streets and people can't get past, and they're just like stopping everything. It's like occupy the streets kind of, yeah? Right?
Well, I would call it a leaderless bike ride.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's cool, yeah? It's a cool movement. Check it out.
I like your description better. But it's like church for bicyclists is another way to describe it too.
All right.
It's a beautiful thing, especially when you have lots of people, so you learn how to bicycle safely in the streets together. Um, but the NYPD, like 15 years ago,
Maybe I could share my
2006.
perspective from being homeless. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, check it out. Now the thing is that maybe you see like a homeless person out there in the cold and you're feeling bad, whatever. If you call 911, most honestly, people want to say cops is rough, blah blah blah. Honestly, those cops are they if they get the 911 call, they understand that they're just supposed to get you out of there. So they say, "Excuse me, sir, just can you move on?" What are they gonna give? Give you a ticket? You probably ain't got ID. If they really gonna run you in, they don't want that. They know that might make you like be more violent, right? Yeah. They just don't want to have, and I get that, and I appreciate that. Most cops don't really want to fuck with you. You get what I mean? It's just move on. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. It's unfortunate, yeah. But the thing is that, right, that person's there probably by choice. You know what I mean? Like maybe you see them peeling stickers. Maybe they have a reason why they want that. You know what I mean? Maybe they remind them of something. It could be a real reason. You know what I mean? Maybe that person's waiting to meet somebody. Maybe, you know what I mean, they have a special memory of that spot, whatever. I would just, rather than calling somebody else to take care of the problem, I would just give them an option. Oh, guess what? Like there's a subway station down there. It might be warmer. That's it. And then walk off. Maybe you scare them. Maybe they'll react bad. You got to be ready for that. Anything can happen. There's a story in the Bible of someone who gets stabbed by, in that situation. You know what I mean? And that's, but you have to be brave enough to make that decision. But, just give them options instead of calling someone else, because what's going to happen is they're just going to be asked to move, and you're going to take away options from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will say, like in our district, I think a lot of
I'll say there's food at this spot. You know what I mean? Like, yo, honestly, let me check it out.
But a lot of the homeless people in my district, for the people I've encountered or seen on the street, a lot of them, I think they have like mental disability.
Yeah, some of them
like there are
do,
a lot of them, like they can't, like they're grunting, they can't even talk.
Some of that's a show. I know some of them. Yeah, some of them do the best show. They're hard. I know this dude. He walk around. I shouldn't blow. I go, huh? Yeah, he does it real good, and he walks on with no shoes on in the dead winter, on his bare foot. But you'll see him other days. He'll be like, "Yo, what's up, man?" He'll just be kicking it. Yeah, so I give it to him.
Okay.
Yeah. We're in a way, a lot of us, the successful ones, are performers, and the ones that you see are the ones that are making it. The ones you don't see, those are the ones, right? Yeah, like the ones that you see isolated, alone. Those are the ones that need to be taken care of for real.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
You see, because in my district, you see, like there is like a tent city right now underneath the FDR at between 14th Street and 18th Street. But that's different. Because I think that's a conscious choice. That's sort of like being a squatter or like a transient person who's going to go train hopping. It's like that's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, they might have found a happy way there, and
even in our neighborhood, there are people who'll come here in the summer, and we'll camp out in East River Park or camp out in Tompkins Square Park.
Yeah,
that's really cool. It's sort of
live it up. Yeah,
that you can.
It is. That's cool.
This isn't something that's new. The 21st century. This is
just provide options. Yeah, don't put them into some place. Right, you provide options. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because I'm just throwing this out there, and tell me what you think. Is that one of my ideas? Is when I think about the issue about homelessness, is that I think about it okay, the way that de Blasio is addressed is we'll put them in the empty hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Done. But we're still not addressing, they still can be productive members of society. They still,
Absolutely. Some of them do. Some of them go on to become successful.
But what I wonder is if we could create, and obviously it would take people who are trained to help, but you think of probably a lot of those people have had trauma or like really have gone through issues. And so it's like if you give them like art therapy or music therapy, giving them outlets to explore them, like to come to peace with themselves, and hopefully like in doing so giving helping them find their voice, and like thinking of like they may find out like I'm a gift, like, hey, I write really awesome songs. But it's like giving them the time and the
Yeah.
place to figure out like what their gifts are, and how they can, like,
I think one of
because
the best things for a man is to really be able to find a way to be able to provide for himself. You know what I mean? Now the thing is that the art stuff is cool. I've been in those programs. A lot of times there's a pretty girl teaching, and that's why the guys are gonna go there. I ain't mad at that. It can make your day feel better, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But in the end, you need to focus on what you're doing. You know what I mean? And you need to focus on getting it together. And then, once you get it together, then you'll attract. I think it's a more. I don't know, like, would you really want to be messing with a female before you really got responsible and putting it all together like that? You know what I mean? Like, you could be fun like that, but it's not really gonna, like, it's up to you to decide that. You know what I mean? And I think people will make the decision, but they got to put together piece by piece, and some people just ain't ready for that right now. You know what I mean? And that's okay. They need a little bit of time, and that's just not a decision I made. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, but I hear what you're saying, but I'm trying to get to that step.
I'm into art stuff
Like,
too. Yeah. I'm an artist. You seen my work, right? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Enjoy. Yeah.
And I actually would, it may date me, but I would think you're a multidisciplinary artist, because you work in different, I mean.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, we're artists. We're New York City. We're with too many artists, not enough fans. But that's all right, though. I'm a fan too. Yeah.
But it's not just about, like, I'm trying to get to a point that you're healing to be able to figure, like, for some people, I mean, and I would even say myself as included, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my life when I was in high school. And like sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And like I have had odd jobs. That's why, like, when I became a documentary filmmaker and producer, it was like all my odd jobs, all my degrees, they worked well in that. And even with my skill set, it came together.
Have you seen the show called After Prison Show with Joe
No.
Guerrero? He actually, a lot of the after prison community ends up homeless. And actually that guy was really cool because he used his art, right? He actually was drawing while he was in prison, stuff. They made that into a YouTube show, and he became very successful at that. So he's, there are people who have come through the program, our programs like you talk about, and it really kind of like kept them going, So, and it sparked actually a lot of really cool projects. So that's out there. So I appreciate that, you know what I mean? That's cool. All right. So we talked about education, we talked about police reform, right? So you are basically, so defund the police, yes, no, maybe. What was that again?
Well, I think that I want to do what the constituents want.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
I don't, to me, and that's also, actually, that's the foundation of why I'm motivated to run, is because I want to do what the constituents want.
What do you think the constituents want to do about reopening? Or what do you think is going to happen with the reopening? Yeah, reopening.
With reopening schools?
No, reopening just in general. Like, people's. I think people are thinking, like, when's my life going back to normal? And your response is?
I want to reopen.
Okay.
I mean, in my district, there's at least one empty storefront on every block. We've lost a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And there are, I mean.
So are you ready for like a immediate reopening?
Well, I think we've had a soft reopening.
Right. There's a lot of people running around. You go to the parks, thousands of people's running next to each other, no masks on. That happened last summer. You know what I mean? I think this summer it's going to happen again. You know what I mean? I saw thousands of people at the parks, barbecues, picnics, basketball courts everywhere. You didn't
I
even,
did
yeah.
too.
Did you
I
see
was
that?
I was a bit shocked because I remember one Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
We like my family, we went bicycling. We're wearing our masks,
Yeah.
bicycling around. We see this like multi-generation
Softball games, all
um,
kinds of things. Yeah.
picnic going on. People weren't wearing masks.
Yeah.
They weren't social distancing, and I'm
Not at
like
all.
freaking out a bit. But
Thousands.
I'm
Yeah.
bicycling on, and then I go into another park. I
Yeah.
see
Another,
I
exactly.
see the exact same thing happening, different groups, and then I come back through to Tompkins Square Park, and we see all the skaters
Yeah.
skating, and again multi-generation, and they're not even wearing masks, and they're not social distancing. And I'm like, oh my gosh! But at the same point, the amazing part about all this is that when the numbers were low at that time, and then
Yeah.
it's like I want to say a week later,
Right.
may have been a couple weeks later, there was a shift. It was like a light switch went off. Everybody started wearing masks again. You didn't see as many people gathering together because the rates went up. So I
Okay.
think in my district, people are taking reasonable precautions.
Okay.
But they're also being human. They want to,
Right.
we're not designed to live in isolation. We're not like bears. We're designed to engage with each other.
Yeah.
So
I feel
for
you
that,
on that.
I think like reopening schools, keeping schools open. I mean, I think we did what we needed to do last year because no one knew what we were up against, and there was tremendous uncertainty. But now we know many people are getting vaccinated. And I think, like in the school situation, I read some of the letters that teachers sent to parents saying, please choose remote learning because of these specific problems in the school. Like the bathroom faucets didn't work, windows were broken or didn't open. Regardless of COVID or a pandemic, those problems need to be addressed and resolved. Like,
Yeah.
because like I can tell you, like bathroom sinks in particular, we need hand washing.
Yeah.
Like those sinks need to be upgraded because you're gonna create a flu like maybe the COVID epidemic this week, but next week it could be the flu.
Yeah.
So it doesn't it's just sanitation. But in regard to reopening, I do think we need reopening. I think I'm grateful that the current administration is putting additional effort and emphasis on small businesses and support. And I've been thinking about how do we create more but I think part of it is that we have to shopping local is a state of mind.
Right.
Because pre-COVID, I was just as guilty as other people that like it's easier to order from Amazon than it is to go to 4 stores. But I've decided consciously that I'm not shopping at Amazon anymore.
You can buy from the stores directly often.
Yes.
Yeah.
That too. But I'm also making more of an effort, even if it is $5-10 more.
Yeah.
It's more important to me to shop at the storefront beneath me.
Yeah.
Or right down the street. I want to keep those people in business.
Right.
And that we have to do that. And there was oh shoot, it's on my Facebook page, but there's a documentary about a record store that closed.
Was it A1?
And
A1, Beat Street. A1's in the Lower East Side. I think it was
No,
Journey to
well,
Stand Press.
it was across. It was in NoHo.
Dave and Kim's or something. Kim's.
It was near there.
Okay.
They actually used to work for Kim's. It was across the street from Virgin at one point.
I forgot. I know some spots. I remember there was a spot.
Hold on.
I remember.
You'll bear with me one moment. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look it up so I can tell you this. And please edit this until it's called Other Music.
Other Music. Okay, that's cool.
And in the documentary, so let me start over. Cut. Okay, so there's a documentary called Other Music, and it's about a small eclectic music store in NoHo. And it closed a few years ago, but it more so closed because they couldn't keep up. They would be buying and selling CDs at a higher price than across the street at the big name record store. They could sell them for cheaper. So it's just like, why do you want to buy a CD at this store when you can buy it cheaper across the street? So they ended up, I think they had a niche with albums.
Yeah.
Sort of like Academy now has the niche on albums. But it's just but that's sort of like the problem with small businesses, mom and pop stores, is that they do have to charge more because they themselves are being charged more in competing with Amazon and Target. But for me personally, I think it's what makes New York unique are the small mom and pop businesses, or the small businesses.
I'll tell you something crazy, yeah? So the thing is that I actually had a mail order business, and actually I was winning that war. I was winning the price war. You get what I mean? I was ready to go hard. But you ever order anything cheap and it takes a couple weeks to get there because they're literally sending the stuff from China? Let's talk about how sick this is, okay? I'm in Queens. You're in Manhattan, right? It costs me more to mail you something than it does that Chinese person to mail it to you. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
The government literally sold the business, the mail order business, to the Chinese because they made an agreement. They paid for it, and then they said, you know what, our shipping rates will be cheaper, even though they're still utilizing our shipping system. What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Yeah, they put me out the market. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is how bad they sell us out. This is ridiculous. You can see on once I explain it to you, you can literally see in front of your face. How could this happen? It's disgusting.
I understand. My husband has a huge T-shirt collection.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, he went through it and gave me a huge box of T-shirts that I could sell. So I sold them on eBay, but doing research and trying to figure out how to sell them, it was really interesting how some people would be free shipping, and I thought it was more of a gimmick. But now you're making me know there's a backroom deal.
They have an advantage. That's why they take over that market. That's why all of them are like that, because why I couldn't do that over here, why I couldn't ship them over here and save price by having a shipping price advantage. Guess what? That ability has been removed from me. I would eat that market up. I will do it. You know what I mean? I'm ready to work hard. Nope. Just not possible.
And that's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what I mean? That's what level it's gone to. So, now the thing is, I don't know. It's really cool that you're actually a local activist, because honestly, so many people get caught up in the mainstream media saying this is what you should pay attention to. But they don't understand that really local activism is really where the heart is at, and so many mature activists talk about that again and again. And it's cool, once again, that I said that you'll notice that a lot of us come to the same conclusions, really, right? Yeah, the experienced ones, yeah, the ones who are actually not armchair activists, but actually street activists and out there getting it done, yeah? Pushing the policy all the way to the end. Congratulations for that. So one thing that I saw during the Democratic primaries, during the presidential elections, though, was a lot of mainstream media kind of control, right? And one thing that we could do locally is the DNC, yeah, they could make their own rules up, you know what I mean? And we're going to talk in a second about your talking about the corrupt Democratic machine establishment here, which has taken over New York, which I love that about you. Yeah, I'm taking that on too. But let's go back to that. So the thing is that the DNC can pass any rules they want, like with superdelegates, whatever. But we can also pass local laws. We could say, if you want to air your debate in our locale, just the way they black out football games, if they don't fill the stadium, we can say you cannot air your debates in our locality on internet, TV, or anything if you do not open up to third party, if you do not give everybody equal speaking time, if you do not meet our demands, right? And we can make this agreement locally across the whole entire nation in many regions. Yeah, you want to lose New York? I'll take it away from you, DNC. I'll smack you right in the face. Yeah, all right. So tell me about your work with would you be down to support a program like that?
I think that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
I'm laughing because
yeah,
for me, actually, last year, like at the beginning of COVID, and there was so much unity. It was awesome. Like everybody is like working together and like solidarity. Everybody's staying home, like trying to be safe. And then all this, and then I turned on the news, and it was just like, what's going on in the news is not what I'm experiencing here. Like, did we watch the same press conference? Did we talk to the same neighbors? And then John Krasowski's series, Some Good News, just was like a beacon of light. I was like, okay, this is what I want to see, because I want to see all the nurses working together, all the doctors, all the medical staff coming together. I want to see New Yorkers clapping at 7:00 every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to see what the people are doing to uplift spirits, like making masks and whatnot. But the media didn't do that. Yeah. And I was like, so I ended up just cutting the media out of my life.
Me too.
And I mean, I will admit I do read my New York politics newspapers to be abreast of what's going on. But with the mainstream media, I was just like, I have different priorities than you. And I love what you're saying about cutting them out and just having them play by the rules, because I personally feel with what happened in the presidential election in particular, and even since then, they have they're controlling people.
Yeah.
And trying to control people and what they are supposed to think and what's right and wrong. And I am they're no longer journalists.
Do you have actually a YouTube channel? You should start one. You should start one. Honestly, from this, right? Yeah, you could shoot this off into a YouTube thing. You know what I mean? I think you have a very good voice. Honestly, one thing that I'm working with is I'm in New York. I have people that I work with in LA. I have people that I work with in right now in Chicago, which is pretty exciting, and Seattle, and what we're trying to, and Colorado. What would be cool is if we could all get our stuff aired on public access channels around the nation. Yeah. So right now, just so you know, Brooklyn, right, Brick, you don't have to live in Brooklyn to be able to submit a show there. So we can actually have national televised a network, right, and then probably also link to each other through a network. So we're providing our own information that we can trust, because we have a relation with each other and we will air each other's stories. Look, I love a lot of maybe you've watched Jimmy Dore, maybe you've watched Sam Cedar. I don't know, if you watch these progressive YouTubers. You haven't? Okay.
I haven't. Well,
but they're not covering my issues, so I have to find new allies. I'm not mad at them, you know what I mean? But that coalition, yeah.
You're probably familiar with MNN as well, the Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Okay.
And it's my husband actually, he had 2 shows on there years ago.
Okay.
But they offer an extraordinary service, and I hope that they offer similar services in each of the boroughs. But basically, it's a public access show, but they have studios that you can film live in.
Yeah.
They have editing suites, the gamut. And I mean, it's like amazing for like people who are like coming out of school and college that they're like they can use their skills and like pursue their art
Yeah.
and in any way. So that's like sort of like a place to harness what you're saying. But but what I do want to share, because since I've been talking like so two issues that are really important to me right now is Governor's Island and the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project, trying to stop that from going forward because I want to save my park, East River Park. So I've been telling people about it. And I talked to my neighbors who live in my district who are directly impacted by these two park closures in close proximity of our homes. They're like friends of mine, dads and moms, are more concerned. They were more concerned in January about the Senate elections in Georgia than what was going on here in New York. And I'm just like thinking, this is messed up. Like like I feel like half of my job is PR, just telling people what's happening and educating and like sharing websites, sharing information so they can make up their own mind about the decision, but they need to know what's going on because like these like East River Park closing is almost 60-acre park that affects all a lot of NYCHA residents directly because they're like basically the FDR is in between East River Park and NYCHA housing along the river. But in addition to that, it's going to affect other people as well because it's like, why do you want to live in there's going to be construction going on for at least 5 years. And then you can't go to the park anymore.
Well, that park is nice, yeah. So check it out, yeah.
But I'm sorry to go off on that, but
no, that's cool.
I think what you're wanting to create is awesome. And if you're so where do you live?
Well, I'm in Queens right now, but the thing is, that's not in your district right now. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but actually, we do have an upcoming event coming up soon with all different New York independent and third-party candidates featuring them. So thank you again for deciding to go independent in this round and take on the Democratic corrupt political machine, which I swear to you, that's what it is. It's a lot of machine politics. It's kind of disgusting. Yeah, and. Yeah, we'll be seeing you soon. Yeah, by the way, please share before we go all your, unless is there anything else you want to share before we go?
Well, I just want to tell you quickly, I'm going to research to see if there is an equivalent of the Manhattan Neighborhood Network in Queens, and I'm going to send you that information.
I have contacted them as well, yeah. I have to go back at it, though, because it kind of slipped while I'm doing, like, all these other projects, yeah? Yeah, but I am working on it.
But it still would be a great...
There is one.
Community to be a part of.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking like if you're connecting all 5 of the neighborhood networks, you got your the beginnings.
New York City. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like the beginnings of
I'm gonna put a segment together with people from other parts of the nation as well.
Yeah, but it's like the beginning of harnessing the power of public access.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. We're leveraging that so that we can have a national network immediately off the ground, piggybacking off of it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's use what's in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Because sometimes it's doing less work is actually doing more work.
If we can make quality, the really key is making quality content. We got to make cool stuff, just the way there was a rock and roll revolution that really helped the revolution back in the 70s, back in the 60s, really push forward. Yeah, we have to be out there creating a new message, an innovative message, and we can do it because corporate producers produce whack shit, you know what I mean? Sorry, but you know what I mean? It's us on the forefront that's out here really creating new content, new, visions, and that's how it is. That's it. They can't take this from us. That's it, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, so share all your social media information. Honestly, is there a website? I'm dying. Like, there needs to be one. Oh, there is one, yeah? There's also, right, yeah. Share all your stuff.
I have one. but it's actually evolving right now. Allie Ryan 2021.nyc is probably the best place to go. And then secondly on Twitter is Allie Ryan 2021. And then I'm on Facebook as Allie Ryan.
That's cool. All right, so I'll put all that up in the links. And yeah, that's really cool. So actually, we're going to have I hope to see you there. That's going to be, I think, this coming Monday. We're going to be having a special independence and third-party forum, and we'll be helping you guys get together so that you guys can, for your ballot petition, you guys can link together, right? Yeah, the mayors, right? They will want to work with someone who's regional, right, to share ballot petitions together, right? You can both get them signed at the same time and share your followers. So, right, and that would be cool.
Yeah.
And meet and talk about each other's issues.
Honestly, at the core, it's not about power. It's about serving your constituency. And I mean, perhaps I'm a little naive about honesty, but I think we have to be forthright and have goodwill to our fellow man.
Right.
And do the right thing.
So how can people stay in contact with your campaign? They want to stay, find out what's going on. They want to support. Maybe have a ballot petitioning, signing. How can people be present for that?
Okay.
Help you when you need it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I need it starting next week on Tuesday.
Okay.
So how do you, what is his last name?
Rossman. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'll actually ask him maybe to present at the independent forum. That would be amazing. Let me get at him.
Yeah.
He's got a huge following. Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely check him out because our tech questions are not like your normal, like they sort of exceed like the normal Genius Bar person's expertise.
Yeah, he definitely goes to town on Genius Bar. Yeah.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
The truth of these
We
words
are on all
is
the major
beyond
platforms.
doubt.
That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you could hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos. Make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot. And looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.